I'm gonna show you a simple blueprint that you can use to make your first sale on Shopify, or if you're already making sales, make a lot more sales using just simple frameworks that are really powerful. And these are things that we have used in our own brands as well as taught to over 400 e-commerce brands that we get to coach and work with hands-on. And by doing these simple things, you're gonna scale just much faster inside your business without a ton of overcomplication and working on the wrong things, which most people do. Now I have to figure out how I'm going to take this sheet of paper off without the money going everywhere. This is my first time, so let's Hey, it all stuck together. That worked out really nice. Okay, so I want to start with just a simple framework. This is what we call the 3P framework. And here's the thing, this system, it works, but you have to work the system. And so before I'm gonna dive into each one of these in a lot more detail, but the first thing we have to understand is where we're going with all of this. So the first P that we have is product. The first P is product. And here's the thing. It's not about the perfect product. It's about the right angle. We work with businesses every day who have common day products like t-shirts or subscription boxes that other people sell. But when they niche down and they craft the right angle, it really helps them take things off. And here's the thing, like you might have some different products, but the question is, if I need to make sales, I need to be really focused in this. What is the right product to drive traffic to? And I'm gonna walk you through a formula that you can use to determine what product you do actually drive traffic to. Now, the second P is the page. Your product page is pretty much your 24/7 salesperson. And you have to say, how do I get this salesperson that I have to actually get people to buy? And this is where we begin to focus on things from the headlines to the elements that you actually have on your product page. And here's the crazy thing. When I walk through this, I'm gonna show you what a good product page, what we call a perfect product page looks like. And most people aren't doing it. Most people aren't doing it. We coach dozens of businesses every single week, and we look at so many pages. And when we look at the pages, 90% of them do the thing that I'm gonna recommend that you don't do. And so this is where it comes down to everything from pricing to cart to page layout to elements on the page that are gonna actually get people to move the needle and actually click add to cart and then buy. So we need to have a product. We need to make sure the page that we're driving the traffic to is the right page. And then the final P is pretty simple. We need people. We need people that will see our stuff, click on our stuff, and buy our stuff. So if you don't have any eyeballs, you're not gonna have any sales. It's kind of like the build it and they will come philosophy just doesn't exist in business, right? Like maybe you'll get your friends and family at the very beginning, but for the most part, once they've kind of bought from you, then it's gonna go, and they're not gonna really buy as much from you. And so you have to have a repeatable system to get not only new people, we kind of look at people in two categories. We look at new and we look at repeat. And you have to have systems in place to get both of those people to buy and buy consistently from you. And if we could do all of this stuff really, really gooder than we're doing right now, here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna make a lot more money. It's green. I don't know if you can tell that's green. This is really, I got a fat marker and I got a narrow marker. That skinny one doesn't really work a whole lot. So we need to cover all three of these things, and this is what I'm gonna walk you through in this video. I'm gonna walk through the product, how to determine what product you need, some elements for that, what you have to consider, the product page, what that should look like. I'm gonna show you the layout and the elements you need to have, and then finally I'm gonna close with people. How do we get new, and how do we get repeat people? And if you stay till the end, I got a little bonus thing I'm gonna give you on how you can make a lot more money using an extra bonus framework that I will be covering. And I want you to remember one thing. When we look at the 3 Ps, you don't need to look at doing this with many products. You need to look at doing this with one product. We work with 7- and 8-figure businesses that are built on one product and one page and one type of person that they're speaking to with usually one marketing channel. Sometimes you got a couple of marketing channels, but for the most part, we could do it with ones across the board. And so don't overcomplicate things. One product can change your entire life. So let's go ahead, let's dive in, let's look at the first P, which is product. And product is the right product to the right people and with the right angle. And here's the thing though, like the product, it isn't everything. And what I mean by that is you may have a product that is very, very unique. And if so, good for you. You're gonna have a much easier life than the rest of us. But for most people, you don't have a product that's wildly unique because someone can go find a similar product online just like your product. What's more important though is your messaging. The messaging and the positioning that you have of that product makes an enormous difference. And so what I want you to do is I want you to think of Liquid Death. If you're not familiar with Liquid Death was founded by a guy named Mike. And Mike was a former creative director in the advertising industry. And so what I love about this is a prime example of someone taking their skill set and applying this and just absolutely crushing it in business. And so Mike was in the advertising industry, and he initially thought, like in 2009, he's attending Vans Warped Tour music festival. And if you're not familiar, a Vans Warped Tour is like a punk rock a music festival that just kind of toured around the country, and all of the larger punk rock bands used to go on there. Shout out to all my punk rockers, that's me, to my core. Well, Mike discovered that most of them were drinking Monster drink energy cans as well as beer. But the problem was, that stuff is usually pretty unhealthy. And so he kind of envisioned this brand of like, hey, what if we were able to deliver something healthy to people in the packaging that they love so that they would consume it? And so he decided to say, how do we take water, the most commoditized product on the planet, which is not very unique, and make it appealing to this younger, maybe more rebellious demographic? And so he figured out how to do that. And in 2019, he launched Liquid Death, which has some really incredible messaging, and now it's a $1.3 billion business. And so that just goes to show that you don't have to have unique products to build a $1.3 billion company. Messaging and marketing is the most important thing. You could sell, and now if you have a bad product, the problem is people won't come back. You could at least acquire them, but you may not be able to retain them. So you obviously want to build good product, but good messaging is what's going to make a really, really big difference. So let's talk about product. You might have 5 products, 10 products. You might have 100 different SKUs on your store. And the question is, well, what one should I actually lean into? Well, when we look at product, there are really 3 different components we're going to look at for a really great product. The first thing we're looking at is niche, or how some of the world says niche. I'm from Midwest Ohio, so I say niche. It's pretty Midwestern sounding. Niche is the first thing we have to ask. We have to say, who is it actually for? The second thing we need to look at and consider is the emotion. How do they feel when they see your product? Whether that's an ad or email, how do they feel? How will someone feel about product A versus product B? Will they feel different? Because a lot of different products will elicit different emotional responses from people. And then the third thing we look at when we're considering which products we should lean into is the unique factor. What makes it actually stand out? And these are 3 things that you need to take into consideration when you're choosing what product am I really going to lean into. Now you might be, if you're a single product brand like Liquid Death, right? Well, you don't have a choice. You have to say, well, this is the product. I don't get to choose other products. But if you have multiple products, you have to decide what's going to be the best entry point to acquiring new customers predictably. So if I was to look at Liquid Death, let's talk about the niche. You could just say very generally, like most people are just very general with their messaging. And they say, well, my products are for everybody. My water, hey, everybody on the planet drinks water, so my customer is everybody. That's not niching down. You know what they did? They came in and they said, you know who we're serving? We're serving the rebels, the skaters, the punk rockers, or I'll just say punks for simplicity here, right? The non-traditional water drinkers, those people that just don't vibe with all the wellness influencers, but they still have to hydrate their bodies, right? So I could take a very generic product of water and say, hey, everybody in the world can buy and benefit from my product. You probably agree. A lot of people could benefit from your t-shirts. But what if you niche down and you said, no, we sell t-shirts for runners. We sell t-shirts with people interested in this category or this niche. And so this is where you can take something general like water and you can go a level deeper and say, hey, no, we sell water, but we're gonna position it for this audience. And then we have emotion. How do you write messaging that elicits emotion, that gets people to feel that connection to it? Like, how do you actually get people to feel really good about water? It's kind of hard to feel really good about water. So if I was to look at Liquid Death, well, what kind of emotion do they try to draw from their product? They try to draw, maybe there's a little bit of rebellion in there. Maybe there's a little bit of people feeling the edginess, right? They like to feel the edginess. You know, their tagline, murder your thirst. Great tagline. That grabs my attention. That's very edgy, right? They incorporate a lot of humor. And so you have to ask yourself, of the products I'm going to choose, what can I niche down into? And then what do I believe I can draw the most emotion from? And then the final piece here is the unique factor. And so this is where this is the hardest one to come up with. If you have a unique product, like we have some clients that sell very unique products. So like there's not a whole lot of comparison here. Whether it's like portable horse stalls, that's very unique. There's really not a whole lot of competition because most horse stalls are really heavy, but they engineered this horse stall. I think of a one wheel. If you've never seen a one wheel, it's like one wheel and it's motorized and it can balance you and go forward and backward. And it's a very unique product. So it's very easy to just say, hey, our product's unique. But most people, like water, are not that unique. So you have to start to think of how can I make it actually look unique? And so let's talk about Liquid Death. If you were looking at a Liquid Death, one unique factor, it's in like a tall boy can. And another thing is it looks like beer. That's how they differentiated it. They don't just sell water, they sell attitude. They sell this unique feeling that you get when you drink it, and it looks like beer. So you feel, if that's the scene and the ideal customer that they're trying to serve, they're able to get people to resonate with that better by simply changing the packaging. And so these are the three things that when you're selecting your product, you need to consider these. Because if you can get these things right, then that's the type of product that's gonna produce a lot of profit when you go to run ads and really lean into marketing it for new customer acquisition. So in order to get sales and be predictable in doing so, you don't need a lot of products. You need one product, and you could find that product by considering the niche, the emotion, and how unique the product actually is, writing all that down, so then when you go to the next phase of the page and trying to get to the people, you'll be able to use all the information you have from that to do so. All right, so we have the product, check. Now before we talk about the page, you know what? YouTube tells us that only 27% of people who watch our videos are subscribed. So if you're enjoying this and you want to keep watching and check out what I have on the next page after this, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the notifications so you get notified when we release new great videos that go super in depth. I don't know if I'm gonna have cash in all of them, but go super in depth just like this one. So we have the product. Now, let's talk about the page. When we look at pages, we look at this as your 24/7 salesperson. You know, after you've chosen the right product, you need the right page. And I will say this, like I have seen great products perform very horribly until the page is improved. And if I rewind a little bit, back in the day, if you just had a page up, you could just, with a stock theme from Shopify, you could just sell products as long as you had a great product. Now, there's a lot more competition, there's a lot more saturation, you have to be a little bit unique. And so I've seen plenty of great products go to the graveyard because they never got a lot of sales, because they didn't have the page part right. And we audit countless pages every single month, and I'll tell you what, we have learned there are some pretty consistent trends in the ones that do really well and the ones that don't. For example, most Shopify stores, most people, at least starting out, are using product pages that look very generic. It's usually like, hey, I have the product photo, the price, and then I have specifications, and then right below that, I just have reviews, or I don't even have reviews. Most people don't have reviews. I just have related products. This is gonna go a layer deeper, and these are elements of what we see the best performing stores have. Let's draw attention to a couple of things here. First of all, if we start at the top, we're gonna start at the top and we're gonna go down. We have our logo right here. The logo is horizontal. When you have a more vertical logo, like let's say you had like a square logo or a round logo, we'll see people put those vertically and it stretches the page and it becomes a really tall navigation menu. And the problem with that is it's covering up so much of your page. So make sure that your logo is horizontal. And the second thing is simple navigation. Really simple navigation. 3, maybe 4, no more than 4 items within here. If you can, try to consolidate the different items. If you have things at the top, I'll tell you what doesn't go at the top. What doesn't go at the top? About us, contact us, FAQs, shipping information. Those are what we call junk drawer items. Your junk drawer is your footer. Just like a junk drawer, we all have a junk drawer. And if you need to find something, you know it's probably in the junk drawer, you'll go digging for it. Those types of things, FAQs, shipping information, contact us. If it's not geared toward cold traffic, meaning people that have never visited your website before, then it is not worth having as a primary focal point in your navigation. Less is more. It removes decision fatigue by doing that. And if someone needs to see an FAQ or shipping information or contact you, guess what? We all know what to do. Go to the page, scroll to the bottom, and they're gonna find that information. So we have minimal navigation. The third thing here is we have the product name. I mean, the product name, pretty good size here. Make sure it's at least not super small. It's pretty easy to know exactly what's being sold here. Nothing crazy there. Now this next piece is very, very important. And this is review stars. You need to have reviews above the fold. The amount of pages that we look at that have no reviews or any review app is pretty crazy. And the reason it's crazy is because reviews means proof. And proof means people are willing to buy. There's a saying that my mentor used to say. He used to always tell me, hey, if you say it, it's bragging. But if others say it, it's proof. And so we want to make sure that you have reviews above the fold. There are 2 apps we recommend for that. One is stamped.io and the second is judge.me. They're super affordable. I think there's a free version of each one of them, but the reviews are going to pay for themselves over and over again just by simply having them because your conversion rate is going to go up. So make sure that you have those installed and just think about it. If you had a product page and you have 0 reviews or you have it doesn't show any reviews, and then there's a competitor that sells the same product as you, or very similar, and they have 497 reviews and there's a 4.87 rating, who are they gonna buy from? They're probably gonna buy from your competitor. Now the fourth thing here is we need to make sure that your featured product image is very high intent, at least the leading image. This is the leading image right here. And what I mean by high intent is not lifestyle. So lifestyle is very easy to want to put as like a leading image because it's really sexy, right? It looks way better than if I was selling a t-shirt here and it was just a t-shirt with a white background or a t-shirt with a plain color background. It's not as appealing if you see the t-shirt on somebody, right? Well, the problem is t-shirts often don't represent the product like you might think that they do. Like a t-shirt, someone might look at the model that the t-shirt is on and not resonate with their body style. They could look at it and say like if I looked at a t-shirt and it was like an extra small guy and the guy has he's like shredded and I can tell there's like abs popping through his shirt. Josh Coffey's gonna look at that and I'm gonna be like, ooh, well that's definitely not my body, so that's not gonna look good on me. And so you can have those over here. This is your gallery. Or sometimes the gallery is below, but I just give an example. I really like having the gallery on the left because it frees up some space down here. But having a gallery where they can then see the lifestyle photos, see like the sizing of them and maybe some demonstration videos, those are worth doing. But your leading image needs to be high intent, meaning this is the product, and there's nothing more crazy to it. Like, this is what it actually is. Then we're gonna come down here. You're gonna see we have our price here, nothing crazy there. And then we have this short description right here. Now, a lot of people get this wrong. And this short description becomes a long description, or it becomes a specifications, where on here you're trying to say, well, this is 80% cotton, 20% polyester, and this is machine washed, and blah, 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 blah. That's not what you want. You want to have something that, again, pulls out the emotion, right? If I was Liquid Death, you know what I wouldn't put in my short description? I would not put, this is a 16-ounce can of water, it's aluminum, it's recyclable. That's not gonna really connect with your ideal customer that you're trying to niche down to, right? And so like, if I was trying to speak to concert goers or people going to Vans Warped Tour, like let's say they had a page or the product they were pushing to people that were going to that music festival, I would say, hey, stay hydrated without feeling the pressure of having to drink alcohol all day long with XYZ product line. And so this is where we put a short description. It's just enough, usually a sentence, maybe 2 sentences, doesn't take up a lot of space, but allows you to say who it's for and what problem it might solve, which is like the 5-second rule. So who is this for? What does this solve if it solves a pain point or gives a benefit? And then what does this actually do? So we're gonna make sure that that's taken care of. Next thing is we need an add to cart button, and we need this, what we call above the fold. Now this dotted line, sorry I didn't go all the way across. This is what we call above the fold. And so above the fold means people don't have to scroll on their device, whatever that device is. And here's what we've learned. We've done plenty of studies of this, and we have seen through heat mapping tools that about 50% of people don't even do this. They don't even scroll on your website. And if we know that 50% of people don't scroll down, then if we don't have an add to cart button above the fold, we risk losing them and not getting the purchase. So we need to make sure that our add to cart button is above the fold. And also use add to cart, do not use buy now. And here's why. Add to cart is very standard in the e-commerce industry, which is why Amazon, the leading e-commerce brand, does it. It's less committal. When you say buy now, it feels like this is a deep commitment that I'm about to make. And so we've just found that by having actually having it say add to cart instead of like buy now, we get a lot more people buying as a result of that. Now the final thing above the fold that I really want to draw attention to is what we call the benefit blocks. So these right here, these are benefit blocks. And this is usually where you're just talking about some kind of benefit that might push people over the edge or answer any objections that they might have that you just want to get in front of. Like if you have a product that has a lifetime warranty, call out the lifetime warranty. Don't make them go digging to find out that you have a lifetime warranty. That is a selling point, right? If you have 30-day returns, if I'm doing apparel, you probably want to cover returns and exchanges because those are usually things like people ask, right? What if it doesn't fit? So saying 30-day returns and exchanges, boom, you're going to overcome that objection. It's going to build confidence in them being able to get it and say, hey, if it doesn't fit, I can still exchange it and get the right size. Maybe you put free shipping 75 plus, so you're just clarifying your free shipping threshold. So these are what we call benefit blocks. This is all of the stuff that we want to have above the fold. Then we're going to move below the fold. And this is where most people just drop off and they don't do anything deeper. They just say, hey, here are related products. Instead, here's what we want to do. We want to break out, if we have them, which you do, all right, we need to break out unique selling points. Go deeper with your ideal customer for the product right here. Call attention to like the unique selling points of why this is better, why your stuff is better than the person right down the street. And this is where we like to stagger them, where we have an image right here, and then we have an image right here, and then we have a headline of what the unique selling point is and a little description, headline, little description, and a different image or even a video. Sometimes there's like a how it works video, or there's like a GIF that's playing to just build confidence. And it also enhances the brand equity in the mind of the potential customer. When they see this kind of stuff, you appear as a more legit brand. I would hope you're a legit brand, but you're gonna appear more trustable, right? And it's gonna build a lot more confidence as they scroll down to make the decision, which is why we like to end our page with detailed reviews. These are the full actual reviews. And my page ran out here, so I wasn't able to draw none any further here, but I drew 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this is where you could show how many different ratings you have in each of the different stars, right? So if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars, they could say, hey, we have 127 5-star, 6, 4, 2, 3, and no 2s and no 1s, right? We want people to be able to see what are some of the other reviews, what are your worst reviews that they can actually go to, which is good. A lot of times it makes you more authentic and more realistic, like, hey, this is actual real reviews if they're not all just 5 stars. For us, we love when we get non-5 stars. If we get a 4-star or a 3-star, I'm like, yes. It makes us look like we actually aren't like, we're not curating reviews. These are actual reviews when people are coming in with those. And so this is what we would call the perfect product page. This is what we call the perfect product page. And there's one final thing that I want to add here, a little bonus here, is we like to have a pop-up. This is a 10-second pop-up. So after about 10 seconds on the page, we like to have a pop-up where it says, hey, get 15% off. And then we ask them for their email, and then usually there's a little button right here that they can submit. Make sure that you have what we call a 10-second pop-up. Now, this is a pop-up with a welcome offer that's gonna allow people to enter their email and get access to a code that they can then copy and use during their session. Don't force them to go to their email in order to get it, but rather allow them to just copy the coupon code and use it at checkout. This is going to lift your front-end acquisition tremendously. When we don't have these, we see our conversion rates go way, 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 way down, and we spend a lot more acquiring customers with our advertising. And we recommend you do at least a 15% pop-up. We ran a test against a 10% and a 15%, and we found that 15% produces about 45.6% more revenue just by giving them an extra 5% off. And so to set up a pop-up, we're huge fans of a tool called Klaviyo. And we'll have links in the descriptions to all the recommendations that we have here. Klaviyo is a tool we recommend for this. You could use a sign-up form and make it a pop-up on your website. It's pretty simple. And as far as building product pages, usually Shopify's like native builder is pretty bad. And honestly, I'm not a developer. I'm not really a designer. And so like for me to get in there and do anything is really tough. So we recommend using a tool called Gem Pages. And we'll have a link in the description to that as well. Gem Pages, I don't know, it's like 20 or 30 bucks a month, and it's just drag and drop. It's for all the non-designer developer folks like myself. It makes life a lot easier, and it allows you to do all of these things as well as give you beautiful templates to just copy and paste and insert all your branding into. All right, so this is the page. But there's one more thing I want to talk about on the page that is overlooked and is going to make you a lot more money if you get this right. And that is your cart drawer. Now, when someone presses add to cart button on your product page, one of two things is going to happen. It's going to send them directly to the cart or the checkout page, or you're going to have what's called a cart drawer. And a cart drawer is simply just going to slide out or just pop out on the screen in front of them, and it's going to show them a couple of things. Most of the time, the standard is just to show them, hey, here's the product you added, and then you can continue to checkout. But we're going to enhance this. And if you do these things that I'm about to show you here, your average order value is going to go up, your conversion rate is going to go up, and ultimately, you make a lot more money by doing just a few things. The first thing I want to draw attention to is right up top here. This little section right here, I'll draw a line under so you know where it kind of stops. This little section right here, this is called add to unlock. And we recommend using an add to unlock to clarify your free shipping threshold. And so usually what we'll do is we'll have at least 2 different tiers that they can unlock different things. The first tier is generally the shipping. So what that means is, let's say that I had a $50 free shipping, and I added a $20 and a $15 product to my cart. Like these are the items that I just added, and I added 1 of these and 2 of these. And there's the first product and second product. And let's say I only had $35 in. Well, this would say, hopefully you can read this. My handwriting's the worst. $15 until free shipping. And then you'll be able to see down here recommended bestsellers, and if they add more products in, then what's gonna happen is this bar is gonna fill in, and then once they're past it, it's gonna say free shipping unlocked, right? It's called add to unlock. Now, I'm a fan of adding another layer, and this is where you then allow them to say, hey, if you spend 50, you get free shipping. If you spend 90 or 100, you get an extra 15% discount, or you get a free gift with your purchase. So this is called add to unlock. So this, add to unlock. If you don't do anything but that, you're gonna get higher conversion, higher AOV, guaranteed. But if you wanna take it further, you're gonna add the second feature, and this is recommended products. So recommended products. And this is where you're gonna use a tool that basically says, hey, based on what they have in their cart, and based on a lot of other things, here's some bestsellers, or here's some recommended products they're gonna make sense to you based on your viewing behavior. And it makes it really easy because people come in and they just click, click, and they add to their cart. We see some carts add as much as 17 to 18% more product to their cart just by doing that, meaning 18% of people are adding products to their carts just by simply giving them the offer. And then the final thing that I'm gonna really recommend that you do is you add what's called a one-tick upsell, where they can just come in, they can tap it and tick it, and it'll just add to their average order value. And there are a couple things you could do here. This is usually the smaller. So it's kind of like you have your main thing here, and it's like, well, here's some other sides you might want to get to it, and this is just a little dessert at the very end. And what we'll generally do with this is we love to do shipping protection. So for example, we might offer shipping protection for $4.99. And here's the thing. If one of your products got damaged or it had shipping issues and it did not arrive, would you not replace it anyway? Probably. Most people do. So you know what we like to do? We love to just offer shipping protection so that we can then make some additional revenue that has zero cost in it because it's just free, right? It's just digital. And this allows us to just add more profit on every single one. And then during the holidays, you could like add up one tick upsells like, hey, do you want to, for $5, you can have it gift wrapped, or for $4, you can add a thank you card to that, etc. And so these are the three elements. And if you add these to your cart, you're going to get more AOV, more conversion rate, and more dollars by doing that. So this is your cart. And so remember, think of your page as your 24/7 salesperson. Every word, every image, everything that you do up until the purchase needs to continue inching people along and reducing friction by doing that. So that covers our page. We got a product, we got a page. Now, we have the final piece. And this is one of the harder pieces. This is the people piece. This is where you have to get eyeballs in order to get paid. And here's the thing, like you could have the best store in the world, like you could do all the other things that I just showed you. Select the best product, build a great page, build a great cart. But if you just don't have anybody seeing it, then you're just dead in the water. It's like, great, I have this really, really pretty thing that is just put in the closet and the closet door is shut and it's locked. Okay, great, nobody gets to see the pretty thing. And so what we want to do is we want to actually drive people to our page with a couple of different marketing channels. And I'm gonna give you this is a framework that we use within all of our brands, and then our clients, we teach them the exact same thing. And so there are three different places that we see revenue come in from. The first one represents about 60% of revenue. The second represents about 30%. And the final piece represents about 10%. So if we're looking at marketing efforts, the first thing in the e-commerce space, at least, that drives 60% of revenue are paid ads. It's very predictable. You can put in $1 and get out X dollars, then it's very predictable. If I know I put in 1 and I make out 3, great. I put in as many ones as I need to get to the 3 that I can to sell out all my product, right? The second thing is email. Email generally produces 20 to 30% of overarching revenue, and then in this little category right here is usually everything else, whether that's social, that's SEO, etc. Social is usually one of those little pieces, where a lot of people put a lot of time into it, but it doesn't actually produce what they want. And here's the problem with this. The problem is that most people, when they start their businesses, they have it all backwards. You know what they do? They start back here, and they go this direction. They go this direction. And you wanna know what's something interesting? if I were to look at how much certain things take from a time standpoint, this is big time, and this is little time. Most people do the thing that produces the least and takes the most time. Posting every day on social media takes a lot of time, but it doesn't scale, right? If I was to post 1 time a day, and then I go to 10 times a day, it doesn't produce 10 times the results, but it does produce 10 times the work. Whereas with ads, if I was spending $10 a day to spend $100 a day, takes 0 extra time. In fact, ads are running while I'm doing nothing. If I was to go from $10 or to $100, and if I was to spend $1,000 a day on ads, which we spend over $1,000 a day in ads in our own brands. When I spend over $1,000 a day, guess what? It doesn't take me any more time than spending $100 per day. And so that's the problem. Most people get this in reverse. And so what I want to show you how to do is to get this in the right order. Because if you focus your attention on this, you're going to be focused on the highest leveraged thing that scales. And then over time, it's going to feed down this line to where your organic will become greater. And when you're just starting out and you have no following, then posting more actually has a negative effect. You just wear all of those people out. And so if you want to get sales from day one, you want to begin to compound them. And to do that, you have to run ads, dial in email, and then you will grow your organic following as a byproduct of doing those things. So I want to talk through how to do this and how to do this in a very practical standpoint. So let's look at this from the lens of what we've kind of been talking a little bit about. And I want to focus more on new customers first. So first of all, we have to dial in ads. We have to figure out ads. And we recommend figuring out meta ads first. Yes, there's TikTok, there's X, there's Google, but we've never seen anything get traction as quickly as meta ads. In fact, most of e-commerce brand spending right now is on meta ads. So we recommend that you figure out meta ads first. And so here's what this framework is going to look like. It's very simple. And if you just do this and nothing else, this can grow you to a 7 or an 8-figure brand. Okay? Really, I mean, we do this. We have clients do this every single year. We do this every single year, and this stuff works. Go study the largest businesses on the planet, and guess what? Most of them did this framework right here. So here's what it looks like. You run an ad. We'll run a meta ad. We're going to drive them to that page that we just talked about. And then here's what's going to happen. People are going to fall into one of two categories. They're going to fall into category A, which is, this is the good category. Most people hover between 2 and 5% conversion rate. And so what that means is 2 to 5% of people that you drive, they're going to say, yeah, this speaks to me. I feel it. I love how unique this is. I'm going to buy it. Yay. And then we make money. Well, then we have this category B, which isn't as fun of a category, but it's still very important. And this is where 95 to 98% of people are going to be like, wow, that's cool, but the price isn't what I want. Or, oh, that's cool, but the timing's right. Or, oh, backspace, didn't even really read the page. Or I entered my name into the pop-up, but didn't end up buying, right? And so that's one of the categories that most people are going to fall into. And so that's why we can't just do ads, because if we just did ads, only 2 to 5% are going to actually buy from us. But what do we need to do with this other 95 to 98% of people? There's 2 things that we do. Thing number 1 is we send them emails. Because of the 2 to 5% that are going to buy, there's going to be another 5% or so in this group right here that opts into your welcome offer for maybe 15% off, like I gave as an example. So that extra 5%, we're going to continue to send them emails. We're going to send them automated emails, and we're going to send them email campaigns, and we're going to do advertising or promotions to really get them to buy from us, so that way they do this, right? So we're going to continue. So we're going to gather their information and continue to market to them. But there's going to be this other group of people that still didn't do it, right? So we have all of these little people down here, and they're like, hey, we didn't opt in for email. Ha ha. We're not going to get seen by this ad again. Well, guess what? They're going to go right back in to our ads, through a form of what's called retargeting. I can't write really good, really low. So that says retargeting. So what's going to happen is these people that have engaged, they've engaged with the ad, they've engaged with the page. Well, guess what? We're going to feed them right back into our advertising, and we're going to keep advertising to them until eventually they either buy or they fall outside of a retargeting window, and then we're not advertising to them anymore. Then there's this final little piece as well. Remember all these people that came in and bought from us? Well, guess what? We're going to start sending them more emails so that way they keep coming and they keep buying from us. And that is how you can produce about 90% of revenue from just ads and email. Now, there's obviously a lot of nuance and there's a lot of strategy, and you're probably wondering, like, Josh, how many ads do I need? What should the ads look like? And what are the campaign structures? And that'll make this video way longer than it already is. And so we have a video in the description to walk you through like our favorite campaign structure right now, what we would recommend doing. One of the types of ads that we see doing the absolute best is what we actually call Addy ads. And so, in other words, they're ads that look like ads. They're not trying to trick anyone. They are a high intent ad. It like shows this is the product, and maybe it has some call outs on the product, or maybe draws attention to some benefits, or like an us versus them ad where it says here's the competitors and here's us. And so these are what we call Addy ads. And so generally, if we're launching, and without getting into campaign structure, if you're just getting started, we're going to recommend that you start with 3 ads. And I'm going to recommend it inside a particular campaign structure called an Advantage Plus Sales campaign. I'm not going to dive into how to set that up. If you want to see step-by-step tutorial on how to set it up, go to the description. But we basically want to run these ads to this page if you're just getting started. And then over time, you'll get more sophisticated. You might have more ads than that. But really, you know what's crazy? We have businesses doing over $100,000 a month with 5 ads. You don't need as many ads as you might think. And so if you want to save a lot of time, we have over 150 Canva templates of these exact types of ads that we see performing really, really great. And we have them, you could buy them, it's a couple bucks, but it's gonna save you countless hours. And these are ads that we collectively spend hundreds of thousands or probably millions on if we actually added up all the dollars running to these. They work really, really well. So this is the 3-step framework. We're going to go product, we're going to work on the page, and then we're going to have to get people there and get them to buy again, and then nurture them until they buy. And then once they buy, we continue to deliver them emails over time to get them to buy again and again. So if that was good, I want you to give this a thumbs up, but I'm going to give you a bonus. I'll give you a bonus if you give this a thumbs up and you drop in the comments what your best takeaway from this session was. And here's the bonus. The question is, well, what kind of email should we send? So I wanted to talk to you about how to this is the blueprint for getting more customers to your Shopify store from day one, but I want to show you how do you continue to grow lifetime value of existing database. Here's what it looks like. We look at email. Email is that greatest way. These are my little emails right here. There are 3 ways that we're going to do it. We're going to do it in what are called flows. So we have flows. And then we have campaigns. These are campaigns. So flows are automated. So I want you to think with flows, what we really want to do with flows is we want to make sure these are running 24/7. These are things that are going to run that you're not going to have to worry about, and it's just going to really, really help you. And so flows have a couple of goals. We want to get our non-buyers to buy. We want to get our existing buyers to be happy and continue to buy, and we ultimately want to save money. And these 5 flows are what we call the core flows. So the first flows are automations that you should have set up. And I'm not going to get into how to create each one of these. You can go search YouTube videos and find other examples and templates on these. Klaviyo has stock flows that you can turn on. But these are the 5 flows that we want to make sure that we have. The first one is the highest revenue producing, and this is your welcome flow. This is the people that opt into that pop-up, like that 15% welcome offer. We want a series of emails to go to them to get them to use that coupon, and this is usually the highest revenue producing flow. The second is what we call cart abandonment flow. This is where people add to their cart, but they're just to the finish line and then they back out. And so we want to show them the products in their cart so they can finish checking out. The third type is called browse abandonment. And it's the same thing as cart, except this is from your existing email list. If I send an email promotion and they click on a product and they just browse it, it will send a cart abandonment email style to them just from them looking at it, not even adding it to their cart. The fourth type is what we call a post-purchase. These are for all of your customers that bought. We want to keep them happy. We want to introduce them to the brand a little bit more, indoctrinate them to your beliefs and what you actually sell and who you are. And then finally, we want to have what's called a sunset flow. And this is where you actually save money. A sunset flow basically means, hey, anybody over 120 days that hasn't opened an email or clicked on an email, we're going to go ahead and we're going to suppress them, or we're going to remove them from our list so that we're not paying for space. Because most tools like Klaviyo that we recommend, you usually pay per contact. And so to save a lot of time and money, we just like to make sure that we're pulling those people from our email list because they're not engaging with us for a long period of time, and they're probably pretty inactive, and it's not worth paying for that space. Then we have two final things we do. Pretty simple. We send a weekly email, which the goal for the weekly email is brand equity. So you want to build equity in their minds by simply sending emails, talking about, hey, here's a new product that we're releasing. Let's poll people. Let's ask them some questions. One of our brands, we call them reply to emails, where we say, hey, reply to this email with your favorite memory of insert whatever that's relevant. And so these are ways that you just build a relationship with your audience, which then leads us into the final piece, which is what we call a monthly promo. And the goal of this is simply cash injection. It's cash injection. Every 4 weeks, we're doing some kind of a 1 to 3 day promotion where we're saying, hey, for the next 72 hours, the store is X percentage off. It's a buy one, get one for 50% off. You can mix and match, bundle any of this collection of dog collars. And this is where we're actually just doing some kind of a promotion to inject cash in the business for people that have been on our list. It's gonna get us the repeat buyers, and it's gonna get those non-buyers that have been sitting on the fence to come over the fence onto our side and actually purchase from us. That was a lot. If you follow this over and over again, and you stay consistent, if you work the system, you're gonna consistently get customers every day. They're gonna buy more, and you're gonna get them to buy a lot more often. But the problem is, most people get distracted. They focus on social media, they focus on wholesale, and all of these ad platforms, and they try to tackle Amazon, and hire unnecessary people, and hire agencies, and do a gazillion product launches, and you know what? They just get stuck. And so my advice, stay lean, work this plan. If you do, we've done this hundreds of times over and over again. I promise you, you're gonna build a highly profitable e-commerce business. Well, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with just one big takeaway, and be sure to give this a thumbs up. You know, YouTube is pretty good at knowing other videos that you like as well, and so to save you a little bit of time here, I'll tell you what, we're just gonna go ahead and give you a recommended video right here. You can watch this video, click on it at any time. It's gonna help you out, it's gonna get you to the next level. It's probably very relevant according to YouTube's algorithm.